Ambassador Minho stood in the giant metal room aboard the alien ship. His hands stayed calm at his sides even though his heart beat faster than normal. All around him, the Velkari aliens watched with their 4 eyes. They were tall, much taller than any human, with skin that looked like polished stone. High Commander Talvek stepped forward. His voice came out like grinding rocks. "Human, your species has been found. The Velkari Empire rules this galaxy. We have ruled for 3,000 years. Now Earth must choose." Minho waited. He had read all the reports about these aliens. He knew what was coming. "Submit to the Empire," Talvek continued. "Give us your resources. Give us your technology. Send your young ones to serve in our armies. Do this and you may keep some freedom. Refuse and we will take everything by force." "How long do we have to decide?" Minho asked. 30 cycles. 30 of your days." Talvek's 4 eyes blinked, 1 pair at a time. "This is generous." Others received less time. Minho nodded slowly. "I will take your message to my leaders." Back on Earth, deep under the Pacific Ocean, General Yuna sat at a large table. Around her, military leaders from every nation argued. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to fight with their armies and ships. The room was hot with anger and fear. Yuna let them talk. She had already made up her mind. When the room finally went quiet, she spoke. "We cannot win a normal war," she said. Her voice was soft, but everyone listened. "They have more ships, more soldiers. They have been fighting for thousands of years." "Then we surrender?" someone asked. "No." Yuna pulled up a file on the screen. "We don't fight them with our best soldiers. We fight them with our worst." The room went silent. Everyone stared at her. "What do you mean?" asked an admiral. "We have soldiers we never use. Soldiers we keep away from normal missions. They are too violent. Too dangerous, too wrong." Yuna paused. "The Velkari fight with honor. They have rules. They think everyone fights like them. They are wrong about us." Dr. Jisoo walked into the room. She was a small woman with tired eyes. She had been studying the human mind for 20 years. She carried a thick folder. "I have 3,000 names," she said. "These are soldiers who passed all the training. They are smart. They are skilled. But they failed the mental tests." "Failed how?" someone asked. "They don't feel what normal soldiers feel. When they kill, they don't have nightmares. They don't feel guilt. Some of them even enjoy it." Jisoo put the folder down. "In a normal war, we would never use these people. But this is not a normal war." The meeting ended 2 hours later. The decision was made. Earth would refuse the Velkari demand, and Earth would send 200 special soldiers to meet them. At a secret base that did not exist on any map, Captain Hyun watched as the selected soldiers arrived. He knew many of them. He had served with some before they were discharged for being too violent, too effective, too disturbing. Lieutenant Nari walked up to him. She was a sniper. Her file said she had 200 confirmed kills. Her file also said she never showed any stress. She never had bad dreams. She asked for more missions when others begged to go home. "Captain," she said, "when do we leave?" "Soon," Hyun replied. "They're bringing in the others." Sergeant Doyen arrived next. He was an explosives expert. He had been removed from service after a mission where he smiled while setting bombs in a building. People had died. The mission was successful. But his smile made everyone uncomfortable. Corporal Sola was the last to arrive. She was small and looked young. Her file was the most disturbing of all. She had killed 43 enemies in close combat. Her own team members had requested transfers because she was too efficient. Too calm. Too much like a machine. Dr. Jisoo met with each soldier privately. She did not try to make them feel guilty. She did not try to fix them. Instead, she removed the last bits of hesitation they had. "The Velkari follow rules," she told them. "They think war is like a sport. They have honor codes. They protect civilians. They accept surrender. They fight in specific areas. And us?" Hyun asked. "You will ignore all of that. The only rule is no civilian casualties. Everything else is allowed. No mercy, no honor. No stopping until they run away or die." Hyun smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Understood." General Yuna came to the base before they left. She looked at the 200 soldiers. They looked back at her with empty eyes. They were not excited. They were not scared. They were just waiting. "The Velkari think war is a game with rules," Yuna told them. "They are wrong. War is survival. War is what happens when civilization stops. Show them what humans are when we stop being civilized." 30 days later, Ambassador Minho returned to the Velkari ship. High Commander Talvek waited for Earth's answer. "We reject your offer," Minho said simply. Talvek's 4 eyes widened. "Then you choose war." "No," Minho said. "You chose war." "We are just responding," Talvek laughed. It sounded like rocks falling. "You are a small species. We will send our 7th fleet, 50,000 warriors, 300 ships. You will learn to submit." Minho turned to leave. At the door he stopped. "Commander, a question. Have you ever fought a species that hunted other animals by chasing them until they died from exhaustion?" "What?" "Humans are persistence predators. We don't defeat enemies quickly. We exhaust them. We haunt them. We never stop until they break." Minho walked out. "You should have accepted peace." 1 week later, Earth sent its response. 1 ship, 200 soldiers. The ship's name was written in big letters on the side. Pandora's Box. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge as they approached Proxima Station. The Velkari fleet was already there. 300 ships, 50,000 soldiers, all following their ancient rules of war. "They want to meet us on the main platform," Lieutenant Nari said, reading the Velkari message. "Formal combat. Honor guard against honor guard." Hyun deleted the message. "Then we'll go everywhere except the main platform." Sergeant Doyoon checked his explosives. "Do we have rules of engagement?" "Yes," Hyun said. "1 rule. No civilian casualties. Everything else? Do what you do best." Corporal Sola loaded her weapons. She did not speak. She never spoke much. She just waited. The Pandora's Box approached Proxima Station. The Velkari warriors assembled on the main platform in perfect formation. Their armor shined. Their weapons gleamed. They stood proud, ready for honorable combat. The human ship did not land on the platform. Instead, it launched 200 small pods. They scattered in every direction. They breached the station from 17 different points. No announcement. No warning. No honor. The pods opened. The soldiers stepped out into the station's corridors. Captain Hyun checked his weapon one last time. Through his communication device, he could hear the Velkari still waiting on the main platform. They were confused. Where were the humans? Why weren't they following procedure? Hyun spoke into his radio. "All units, begin." The war started. But it was not the war the Velkari expected. It was not the war anyone expected. It was the war humans had evolved to fight. Total. Merciless. Efficient. The Velkari Empire was about to learn what happened when you attacked a species that spent millions of years as the most dangerous predator on a death world. They were about to learn that humans did not send warriors, they sent something much worse. High Commander Talvek stood on the main platform of Proxima Station with his honor guard. 5,000 Velkari warriors stood in perfect formation behind him. Their weapons were held at the proper angle. Their armor displayed their ranks clearly. This was how war was conducted. This was how it had been done for 3,000 years. "Where are they?" asked his second officer. "The humans should be here by now." Talvek checked his instruments. The human ship had stopped moving. But no landing craft came to the platform. "Send them another message. Perhaps they do not understand our protocols." Before the message could be sent, the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing the platform in red. Talvek's communicator crackled with confused voices from all over the station. "Section 7 is breached. Unknown contacts in the maintenance tunnels. Command deck, we have..." The transmission cut off with a sound like breaking glass. Lieutenant Nari moved through the narrow maintenance tunnel. Her rifle was pressed against her shoulder. Through her scope, she could see the Velkari command deck. Officers stood at their stations. They wore ceremonial armor, bright and decorated. It showed their ranks. It made them easy targets. She did not think about honor. She did not think about whether this was fair. She thought about distance, wind, and breath control. She pulled the trigger. An officer fell. She moved the rifle slightly. Pulled the trigger again. Another one fell. The Velkari started to panic. They looked around, trying to find where the shots came from. They did not take cover. Taking cover was not part of their honor code. Nari kept firing. 1 shot, 1 target. 1 death, repeat. Sergeant Doyen placed charges on the power junction. The Velkari did not guard their supply lines. That would be dishonorable. Attacking support systems was against the rules of civilized warfare. Doyen did not care about civilized warfare. The charges were small, but placed perfectly. He set the timers for different intervals, 5 seconds apart. He wanted confusion, not just destruction. He moved to the next junction. Then the next, all over the station. The other demolition experts were doing the same thing. In 20 minutes, Proxima Station would become a nightmare of flickering lights, failing gravity, and sealed corridors. The Velkari would learn that humans did not fight on battlefields. Humans turned everything into a battlefield. Corporal Sola entered through an airlock on the lower deck. 3 Velkari soldiers were stationed there. They turned when they heard the door open. They raised their weapons but did not fire. The rules said to issue a challenge first, to offer a chance for honorable surrender. Sola did not wait for them to speak. She moved forward like water flowing downhill. Her knife found the first soldier's throat. Her pistol fired twice. The other 2 fell before they understood what was happening. She dragged the bodies into positions that would disturb the next patrol. Not to be cruel. To create fear. Fear made enemies make mistakes. She moved deeper into the station. On the command deck, what was left of the Velkari officers tried to understand what was happening. This was not war. This was chaos. Enemies appearing from nowhere. Shooting from hidden positions. No formations. No challenges. No honor. One officer managed to send a message to Commander Talvek. "Sir, we are under attack throughout the station. We cannot locate the main enemy force. They are everywhere and nowhere." Talvek felt something he had never experienced in 30 years of military service. His hands shook slightly. "How many are there?" "Unknown. Could be thousands. They move too fast. They do not fight in groups." The transmission ended. Captain Hyun watched through his tactical display. His 200 soldiers had spread throughout the entire station. The Velkari had 50,000 troops, but most were still assembled on the main platform, waiting for combat that would never come. "Nari, report," he said into his communicator. "Command deck neutralized. 18 targets eliminated. No resistance." Her voice was calm, like she was reporting the weather. "Doyen? Charges placed. Detonating in 3, 2, 1. Throughout the station, explosions rippled. Not big enough to destroy, but enough to crack pipes, sever cables, and seal doors. Gravity failed in some sections. Life support went to backup power. The lights flickered and died in random patterns. Sola, lower decks clear. 23 targets down. Moving to Section 4. Hyun allowed himself a small smile. All units continue operations. Remember, they have honor. We have objectives. Commander Talvek finally gave the order to abandon the platform. His warriors rushed into the station to fight the invaders. But they did not know where to go. The enemy was not in one place. Reports came from every section. North corridor, 2 warriors down. Engineering deck under attack. Medical bay breached. The Velkari soldiers ran through corridors looking for enemies to fight face to face. They found their own dead instead. Bodies positioned strangely. Some looked like they had been killed while trying to surrender. Others seemed to have been executed after being wounded. This violated every rule, every principle, every tradition of warfare going back millennia. Fear spread faster than the humans did. One Velkari warrior turned a corner and came face to face with Lieutenant Nari. For a moment, they stared at each other. The Velkari raised his weapon slowly, properly, giving her a chance to respond according to protocol. Nari shot him 3 times before he finished raising his gun. She stepped over his body and kept moving. 12 hours into the battle, Commander Talvek sent out a communication offering terms of honorable combat. "Human warriors, I challenge your champion to single combat. Let us settle this engagement as civilized beings." Captain Hyun received the message. He thought about it for exactly 2 seconds. Then he replied with one word. "No." Then he did something that would change galactic warfare forever. He hacked into the Velkari communication system and broadcast footage from Earth's history. Images of human wars. No rules, no mercy. Cities burning, soldiers fighting in ruins. Totalva. The Velkari who saw it were horrified. This was not warfare. This was extinction fighting. Hyun's voice came over every Velkari channel. "You wanted warriors. You wanted honorable combat. You were wrong about us. We are not warriors. We are survivors. And survivors do not follow your rules." In the maintenance tunnels, Lieutenant Nari ran out of ammunition. She switched to her sidearm. When that ran out, she used her knife. When a Velkari soldier finally cornered her, expecting surrender, she threw the knife into his eye and took his weapon. She never stopped moving. never stopped killing. Her heart rate never went above 90 beats per minute. Sergeant Doyen set his last charge on a structural support beam, not to collapse the station, but to make a sound like thunder that would echo through every corridor. Fear was as useful as bullets. Corporal Sola found herself surrounded by 6 Velkari soldiers. They had finally adapted. They had learned to shoot first. They opened fire. Sola moved between their shots like smoke. She broke the first soldier's neck before the others realized she had moved. Her hands were too fast. Her movements too efficient. She was not skilled. She was evolved for this. 4 of the soldiers ran. They did not retreat tactically. They simply ran in panic. Sola let them go. Terrified survivors would tell stories. Stories were weapons too. 14 hours after the battle began, the Velkari started evacuating. Not retreating, not withdrawing, fleeing. Commander Talvek watched his warriors scrambling onto ships in complete disorder. They were pushing each other, abandoning equipment. Some were crying. His species had not cried in battle for 2,000 years. "This is not possible," he whispered. "We outnumbered them 250 to 1. His remaining officers had no answer. The numbers did not matter. The humans had not fought a battle. They had conducted an extermination. The last Velkari ship left Proxima Station 18 hours after the first human soldier entered. Of 50,000 Velkari troops, 38,000 made it back to their ships. 12,000 were dead or missing. The human casualties, 12 soldiers, most from equipment failure, not enemy action. Captain Hyun walked through the empty station. Bodies lay everywhere. The Velkari would return later to collect their dead. It was part of their honor code. "Captain," Lieutenant Nari approached. Her uniform was clean. Her weapons were reloaded. She looked like she had just finished a training exercise. "Orders?" "We hold the station. Command will send support ships." Hyun looked around at the destruction. "The Velkari will send a report to their empire. They will tell them what happened here." "Will they come back?" Sergeant Doyen asked. "Yes," Hyun said. "But next time they will understand what they are facing." Corporal Sola stood silently nearby. She had not spoken during the entire battle. Now she said 5 words. "They will send more soldiers." "Good," Hyun replied. "We have more operators." On the Velkari homeworld, High Counselor Vex read Commander Talvek's report 3 times. He did not believe it. He could not believe it. 200 humans defeating 50,000 Velkari, but the casualty lists were real. The footage was real. The terror in the survivors' reports was very real. "What are these humans?" he asked his advisors. No one had an answer. The humans had not used superior technology. They had not used numbers. They had simply fought in a way that the Velkari could not understand. Without honor, without hesitation, without anything that made them stop. Ambassador Minho was brought before the High Council. They demanded an explanation. "How can your species fight this way?" Vex asked. "Do you have no honor? No respect for civilized warfare?" Minho looked at the assembled council. 17 species all watching him with fear and anger. "We respect honor," Minho said quietly. "When we can afford it. But you threatened our extinction. And humans who face extinction do not care about honor. We care about survival." "You are monsters," someone shouted. "No," Minho replied. "We are humans. We evolved on a world where everything was trying to kill us. For millions of years, we learned to be the best killers on our planet. Then we learned to be civilized. But civilization is something we wear. Underneath, we are still what we always were." "And what is that?" Vex asked. "The most dangerous persistence predators in the galaxy." The council chamber fell silent. Minho continued. "You can surrender now. You can recognize our sovereignty and leave us alone, or you can keep fighting. But understand this, Proxima Station was us being restrained. We followed one rule: no civilian casualties. If you push us further, we might stop following that rule too." "Are you threatening us?" Vex demanded. "No," Minho said as he walked toward the exit. "I am warning you. There is a difference." The Velkari Council watched him leave. Then they began to argue about what to do next. Some wanted immediate revenge. Others wanted to forget Earth existed. High Counselor Vex made the decision. "We will show them we can adapt. We will send soldiers who do not care about honor either. We will match their brutality." It was the worst decision the Velkari Empire had ever made, because they did not understand. Human brutality was not just brutality. It was millions of years of evolution. You could not train for it. You could not copy it. You could only survive it. If you were lucky. 6 months had passed since Proxima Station. The Velkari Empire was changing. High Counselor Vex stood before a crowd of thousands. Screens showed his speech across 17 worlds. The humans fight without honor, he declared. So we will match them. We will find our own soldiers who do not care about rules. We will show humanity they are not the only species capable of ruthlessness. The crowd was silent. For 3,000 years, the Empire had prided itself on civilized warfare. Now their leader was telling them to abandon those principles. I present to you the Ashen Legion. Across the Empire, prisons opened. Criminals were given a choice: fight for the Empire or stay locked away forever. Violent offenders, murderers, those who had been cast out from society for breaking every law, 15,000 of them accepted. General Court was given command. He had been a respected officer until he ordered the execution of prisoners. That violation of honor had ended his career. Now the Empire needed him again. You are free to fight however you wish, Vex told Court. No rules, no mercy, just victory, Court smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Where do we start? Titan Base, the human colony on Saturn's moon. Show them we can be monsters too. On Earth, General Yuna watched the intelligence reports. The Ashen Legion was loading onto transport ships. Their destination was clear. They are trying to copy us, Dr. Jisoo said. She looked tired. The war was taking its toll on everyone. They think violence is just a choice. It is not? Asked an officer. No. Our operators are violent because their brains are different. They were born this way. The Velkari are taking normal people and trying to make them act violent. It is not the same. Captain Hyun entered the command center. Are we deploying to Titan? Yes, Yuna confirmed. Take 93 operators. That should be enough, Hyun nodded. He understood the math. The Ashen Legion had 15,000 soldiers. Earth was sending 93. The message was clear. Humans did not need equal numbers. Lieutenant Nari was cleaning her rifle when Hyun found her. We have a new mission. Where? She asked without looking up. Titan Base. Defending against 15,000 Velkari criminals. Nari paused for just a moment. Then she continued cleaning her weapon. Criminals. Not soldiers, does it matter? Hyun asked. Yes, soldiers are trained. Criminals are just violent. She looked up at him. We are both. Sergeant Doyen was already packing his explosives when the briefing came through. He read about the Ashen Legion. Violent criminals, murderers, those who enjoyed causing pain. He almost laughed. The Velkari thought that was special. On Earth, there were millions who fit that description. The difference was, Earth kept most of them in society, functioning normally. The truly dangerous ones, like him, got controlled and aimed at enemies. Corporal Sola said nothing when she heard about the mission. She never said much. She just prepared her equipment and waited for the transport. The Ashen Legion arrived at Titan Base like a storm. Their ships did not land carefully. They crashed into docking bays, tore open airlocks, and poured into the colony. General Court watched from orbit. Remember, no rules. Kill everything that resists. Destroy everything that stands. Show these humans what real violence looks like. The Ashen Legion moved through Titan Base in a mob. They fired weapons randomly. They destroyed equipment. They roared and shouted threats. They wanted the humans to be afraid. In the colony's command center, Captain Hyun watched the enemy on the monitors. They were loud, disorganized, wasteful with ammunition. They fight like criminals, he said quietly. Not soldiers. Is there a difference? Asked the base commander. Criminals are violent because they want to be. Soldiers are violent because they need to be. Our operators? Hyun paused. They are violent because that is what they are. He opened the communication channel to all operators. All units, engage. The human operators did not rush forward. They did not shout. They simply moved into position and began working. Lieutenant Nari found a position overlooking the main corridor. The Ashen Legion soldiers moved in a group, pushing and shoving each other. They argued about which way to go. They were not a unit. They were a mob. She started firing. The Ashen Legion scattered. They took cover, but not good cover. They hid behind containers that would not stop bullets. They bunched together, making themselves easier targets. Nari kept firing, steady, calm, efficient. She counted her shots. Conserved ammunition. Picked targets that would create the most chaos when they fell. The Ashen Legion fired back wildly. They wasted hundreds of rounds hitting walls and ceiling. None came close to Nari. Sergeant Doyen did not set traps randomly. He studied how the Ashen Legion moved. They were predictable. They took the easiest paths. They avoided difficult routes. They were lazy. He set charges on the easy paths. When groups of Ashen Legion soldiers rushed through corridors, the explosives did not kill them. They sealed the exits behind them, trapped them in sections of the base with no way out except past human operators. The trapped soldiers panicked. They were used to being the scary ones. Now they were prey. Corporal Sola waited in a maintenance area. 6 Ashen Legion soldiers entered, searching for enemies. They carried weapons designed to cause maximum pain. They talked about what they would do to any humans they found. Sola stepped out of the shadows. The fight lasted 8 seconds. The first soldier died before he saw her. The second managed to fire his weapon, but his shots hit his own comrades. The third through 6th tried to run. Sola did not chase them. She did not need to. She had already calculated where they would run. Other operators were waiting there. General Court watched his soldiers die on the monitors. He did not understand. The Ashen Legion was violent. They were brutal. They had no morals. How were they losing to only 93 humans? Send more troops to Section 7, he ordered. Overwhelm them with numbers. 300 Ashen Legion soldiers rushed to Section 7. They found it empty except for bodies. Their own bodies, positioned in ways that made no tactical sense. The bodies seemed to be pointing toward something. They were pointing toward explosives. Sergeant Doyen detonated the charges from half a kilometer away. He did not watch the explosion. He was already moving to the next position. 40 hours into the battle, Lieutenant Nari noticed something. The Ashen Legion soldiers were hesitating. When they got wounded, they stopped fighting. When their friends died, they got scared. When things went wrong, they panicked. She reported this to Captain Hyun. They are not like us, Hyun said. They are civilians who chose violence. We are violent people who learn to be soldiers. They can stop being violent. We cannot. Corporal Sola encountered a group of Ashen Legion shock troops in one of the base's large chambers. These were supposed to be the most dangerous. They carried the heaviest weapons. They had killed many beings before joining the Legion. They saw her and smiled. One small human woman. They had weapons, numbers, experience. Sola looked at them the way a human might look at insects. No fear, no anger, no emotion at all. Just calculation. She moved forward. The shock troops fired. She was already somewhere else. Their big weapons were too slow, too heavy. By the time they aimed, she had moved. She killed the first one with his own knife. The second died from friendly fire when his comrades panicked. The 3rd through 8th tried to retreat. Sola let them go, but she followed them back to their group. Watched where they went. Reported their position to Sergeant Doyen. Another explosion echoed through Titan Base. On the 3rd day, General Court made a decision he never thought he would make. Pull back. Evacuate all forces. His officers stared at him. Sir, we still have 12,000 soldiers. They only have 93. I do not care about the numbers, Court shouted. His hands shook.
He had seen the reports.
Watch the footage. The humans did not just kill. They made his soldiers afraid to fight, afraid to move, afraid to exist in the same space. They are not like us, Court whispered. We chose to be violent. They were born for it. The Ashen Legion retreated from Titan Base. Of 15,000 soldiers, less than 2,000 remained combat-ready. The others were dead, wounded, or too traumatized to continue. The human operators had lost 5 soldiers, 4 from equipment failure, 1 from a lucky shot. Captain Hyun walked through the base after the battle. Bodies lay everywhere. Ashen Legion soldiers who had thought they were the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. They tried to be like us, Lieutenant Nari said. Yes, Hyun replied. They failed to understand. Violence is not something you do. For us, it is something we are. They can choose to stop, we cannot. That makes all the difference. On the Velkari homeworld, the surviving Ashen Legion soldiers gave their reports. The military analysts listened in horror. The humans do not feel, one soldier said. His voice shook. They do not get angry. They do not get scared. They just perform like machines. But worse than machines because machines do not understand what they are doing. The humans understand. They just do not care. High Counselor Vex read the reports 3 times. The Ashen Legion had been his answer to human brutality. But brutality was not enough. The humans had something the Velkari could not copy. They had evolved for this. Ambassador Minho was brought before the council again. This time, they did not demand. They asked, "What are you?" Vex said quietly. Minho thought about his answer carefully. "We are a species that survived on a death world. For millions of years, we competed with animals that were bigger, stronger, faster. We won by being smarter and more persistent, by never stopping until our prey collapsed from exhaustion. Then you learned to hunt each other for thousands of years. You perfected warfare against yourselves. Yes, we got very good at killing, too good, so we built civilization to control it. But that violence is still there, in some of us more than others." Minho paused. "Your Ashen Legion were violent criminals. Our operators are violent soldiers. Do you understand the difference?" "No," Vex admitted. "Criminals are violent because they reject society. Our operators are violent but function within society. They are not broken. They are just different, and we learned to use that difference to protect our species." The council chamber was silent for a long time. Finally, Vex spoke. "We offer peace." "No," Minho said. "You offer temporary retreat. You will regroup. Try again with new tactics. So here's our counteroffer." He pulled up a display. It showed Velkari military installations across the Empire. "We have identified every major military base you have. If you attack us again, we will deploy operators to each of these locations. All of them, at the same time." "You do not have enough soldiers," someone protested. "We have 3,000 operators of the level you have already faced. We have 30,000 more that we consider too dangerous to deploy. They are kept isolated, contained. But if you force us..." Minho let the threat hang in the air. High Counselor Vex felt fear. Real primal fear. An emotion his species had evolved beyond millennia ago. "What do you want?" "Leave us alone. Recognize our sovereignty. Never attack a human world again. Do this, and we will keep our operators contained. Refuse, and you will learn what humans become when we release all restraints." The council did not need to vote. The decision was obvious. They agreed to peace terms. But Vex made one more mistake. Pride made him add, "We agree. For now." Minho heard those words and knew the war was not over. The Velkari would try again. They would find new tactics, new weapons, new ways to fight. He sent a message to General Yuna. "Prepare for invasion. They agreed to peace, but they do not believe it. They will come at us with everything they have." Yuna read the message and sighed. She looked at Dr. Jisoo. "Contact the deep facilities. Wake up the third wave operators." "All of them?" Jisoo asked. "Those are the ones we fear." "Yes, all of them. The Velkari want to see what we are really capable of. They will learn to regret that." The Velkari Armada came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system.
1 million soldiers.
5,000 ships. It was the largest military force the Empire had ever assembled. High Commander Talvek stood on the flagship bridge. He had been given a second chance after the disaster at Proxima Station. This time would be different. This time, overwhelming force would crush the humans before their strange tactics could matter. "Send the message," he ordered. The communication went out on all frequencies. "Humans of Earth, you are surrounded. You have no chance of victory. Surrender immediately or your world will be reduced to ash." The response came quickly. "Just coordinates. Landing zones across Earth's 7 continents. Nothing else. They are inviting us to land?" Talvek's second officer asked. "It must be a trap." "Of course it is a trap," Talvek replied. "But we have 1 million soldiers. Even if they use their operators, what can a few thousand do against such numbers?" He gave the order. The invasion began. On Earth, in her command center beneath Sol, General Yuna watched the Velkari ships descend. She had spent 6 months preparing for this moment. Cities had been evacuated. Civilians moved to bunkers deep underground. The surface was being given to the military. Dr. Jisoo stood beside her. "The third wave operators are ready. 3,000 of them. And the containment protocols?" Yuna asked, removed. "All restrictions lifted. They understand they can operate without limits." Jisoo paused. "General, are we sure about this? These operators, they are the ones that scared the first wave. They are not just capable of violence. They are driven by it. I know, Yuna said quietly, but the Valkyrie brought 1 million soldiers to our home. We do not have a choice. She opened a communication channel that reached every operator on the planet. All units. One rule remains: no civilian casualties. Everything else is unrestricted. Show them what humans are capable of when we stop holding back. Captain Hyun stood in the ruins of old Chicago. Around him, 300 operators from the new deployment waited in silence. These were not like the first wave. The first wave had been controlled, professional. These operators were something else. He could see it in their eyes. They were not nervous. They were excited. Listen carefully, Hyun said. The Valkyrie are landing everywhere. They expect resistance. They expect tactics. They expect a fight. He paused. Give them a nightmare instead. Lieutenant Nari had been given 50 sniper units. Not the controlled shooters from before. These snipers had been kept isolated because they enjoyed their work too much. They took too long, made unnecessary kills, found creative ways to use their weapons. She positioned them around what used to be Mexico City. The Valkyrie were landing in the city center, their ships coming down like metal rain. Remember, she told her teams, make every shot count. But more importantly, make every shot terrify. The Valkyrie soldiers exited their landing craft in perfect formation. They had learned from previous battles. They stayed in groups, watched for ambushes, did not present easy targets. The first shot took the commanding officer in the leg. Not fatal, just crippling. He fell, screaming. His soldiers rushed to help him. 3 more shots. 3 more wounded soldiers. All leg shots. All painful but not deadly. The Valkyrie understood. The humans could kill them easily. But they were choosing to wound instead. To make them watch their comrades suffer. To make every soldier wonder if they were next. Fear spread faster than bullets. Sergeant Doyen had access to more explosives than he had ever been allowed before. He also had something new. Permission to be creative. The Valkyrie landed in Berlin. They moved carefully through the empty streets. The humans had left equipment behind. Vehicles, supplies, weapons, obviously traps. But not all of them were traps. Some were just equipment. The Valkyrie learned to check carefully, to clear areas slowly. That was when the real traps activated. Doyen had not trapped the obvious things. He had trapped the routes between safe areas. The paths cleared by Valkyrie bomb detection. The places they thought were secure. Explosions rippled through Berlin. Not to kill, but to separate. To divide the Valkyrie force into small groups. To make them isolated. Vulnerable. Then the human operators moved in. Corporal Sola led close combat teams through the ruins of Tokyo. The Valkyrie had landed there in massive numbers. 50,000 soldiers in one location. They thought numbers would protect them. Sola's teams did not fight the 50,000. They found small groups, patrols, supply lines. They struck fast and vanished, but they left the bodies where they would be found. Positioned to send a message. You are not safe anywhere. The Valkyrie tried to adapt. They sent larger patrols, stayed together, used heavy weapons to level entire buildings before entering. Sola adapted faster. Her teams learned the Valkyrie patterns in hours. They predicted where the aliens would go. They waited there. The Valkyrie were not fighting soldiers. They were being hunted. After 12 hours, Commander Talvik started receiving reports that made no sense. His casualties were not that high. Maybe 20,000 dead out of 1 million. But his soldiers were breaking down. They are requesting evacuation, his communications officer reported. Entire units are refusing to advance. They say the humans are everywhere. They say the fighting never stops. Tell them to hold position, Talvik ordered. We still have overwhelming numbers. Sir, 3 units have already abandoned their equipment and are hiding in buildings. Talvik pulled up combat footage. What he saw disturbed him deeply. The humans were not just killing. They were performing, making every engagement memorable, every death traumatic. They were not trying to win battles. They were trying to break minds. Captain Hyun received a communication request from a Valkyrie officer. He accepted it. Human Captain, the alien said. His voice shook. We wish to discuss terms of honorable combat. You came to our world with 1 million soldiers, Hyun replied. You threatened to reduce Earth to ash. There will be no honorable combat. Then what do you want? I want you to leave. I want every Valkyrie soldier off this planet. I want your empire to understand that Earth is not a target. It is a warning. We cannot leave. Our orders. Your orders do not matter. You can leave or you can stay and see what happens when we deploy the rest of our operators. Hyun pulled up a display. We have 3,000 in the field now. We have 30,000 more ready to deploy. Those 30,000. They are the ones we are afraid to use because they make the current operators look gentle. The Velkari officer's 4 eyes widened. That is not possible. Test us, Hyun said coldly. Please test us. The communication ended. Talvik made the decision to request a face-to-face meeting. He chose neutral ground, the ruins of Geneva. He brought 200 guards. Captain Hyun came alone. They met in what remained of an old stone building. Talvik towered over the human, but somehow Hyun seemed larger. What do you want? Talvik demanded. For you to leave, Hyun said simply. Take your soldiers. Go back to your empire. Never return. The council will never accept defeat to a species as small as yours. Hyun pulled up a holographic display. It showed a Velkari colony world, Tor Prime. Real-time footage showed a single human ship entering orbit. 100 operators deployed to the surface. Talvik watched in horror as the operators moved through Velkari military installations like death itself. These were not the controlled operators from Earth. These moved faster, killed more efficiently, showed absolutely no hesitation. Stop this, Talvik said. This is excessive. This is war, Hyun corrected. Total war. The kind your empire started when you came to Earth with 1 million soldiers? He leaned forward. Those operators on Tor Prime? They are from our reserve units. Not as trained, not as controlled, but just as effective. What are you? We are persistence predators who evolved to hunt prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We are a species that fought ourselves for 10,000 years and got very good at killing. We are what happens when you attack something that refuses to be prey. Hyun's eyes were empty of emotion. We are what you created when you threatened our home. Talvik felt something he had not felt since he was young. Absolute terror. What do you want? 1 Velkari day. 26 hours. You have that long to get every soldier off Earth. Every hour you delay, we deploy 100 more operators to another Velkari world. Hyun showed him a list. We have identified every military installation in your empire. We have ships ready, operators selected. The only question is, do you want to see what happens when we stop restraining them? This is madness. No, Hyun said quietly. This is survival. You tried to take our world. We are showing you the price. 6 hours later, the Velkari armada began evacuating. It was not orderly. It was not dignified. Ships launched with whoever could get aboard. Equipment was abandoned. Entire units just fled to the nearest transport. The human operators did not pursue. They just watched the aliens run. General Yuna watched the Velkari ships leave Earth's orbit. Dr. Jisoo stood beside her. We won, Jisoo said softly. Did we? Yuna looked at the files of the operators. We showed the galaxy what we are capable of. We can never take it back. Every species out there now knows that humans are the most dangerous beings in space. Is that so bad? I do not know yet, Yuna admitted. We proved we could survive. But at what cost? Captain Hyun stood in the ruins of Chicago, watching the last Velkari ship disappear into the sky. Lieutenant Nari approached him. It is over, she said. For now, Hyun replied. They will go back to their empire. They will tell everyone what happened here. Some will be afraid. Some will be angry. Some will want revenge. And us? We go back to containment. Back to isolation. Back to pretending we are normal. Hyun looked at his hands. They were steady. They always were, even after all the killing. But we will never be normal. We are weapons that learn to look like people. Is that so terrible? Nari asked. I do not know. But I know this. As long as the galaxy fears us, Earth is safe. And that is enough. On the Velkari flagship, Commander Talvik watched Earth shrink in the distance. His 1 million soldiers had been reduced to less than 800,000. Not all casualties were deaths. Many were psychological breaks. Soldiers who could not function after facing the humans. What do we tell the council? His second officer asked. The truth, Talvik said quietly. We lost badly. And if we ever attack them again, there will be nothing left of the Empire. They will demand revenge. Let them demand. I will not lead another force against Earth. I have seen what humans are. I have seen what they become when threatened. Talvek pulled up the footage from the battle. They did not send soldiers. They sent something evolution created over millions of years. They sent predators that learned to wear the mask of civilization. And when the mask comes off, then we see what we saw today. And I pray to every god that we never have to see it again. The Velkari Armada left the solar system. They carried with them a lesson that would change the galaxy. Humanity was not to be trifled with. Not because of technology or numbers or resources, because humans had weaponized their own evolution. They had taken the traits that made them apex predators and refined them through military training. The result was something no other species could match. The result was operators, soldiers who did not break, who did not hesitate, who did not stop until their objective was complete or they were dead. The galaxy had met humanity, and the galaxy had learned to be afraid. 1 year after the invasion, Ambassador Minho walked through the Velkari capital city without guards. People stared at him, some with fear, some with respect, a few with anger, but no one threatened him. The war had changed everything. He entered the council building where representatives from across the empire waited. This was supposed to be a negotiation, but everyone knew the truth. Earth had already won. This was just making it official. Councillor Resh led the Velkari delegation now. The old council had been removed after the disaster at Earth. Resh was young for a politician, but he understood something the old leaders had not. Humanity could not be defeated. Ambassador Minho, Resh said formally, "Welcome. We hope these talks will bring lasting peace between our peoples." "I hope so too," Minho replied. He meant it. Humans did not want to fight. They just wanted to be left alone. The negotiations were surprisingly simple. The Velkari recognized Earth's sovereignty. Trade agreements were established. Both sides promised not to attack each other. Standard treaty language. Then Resh added something unexpected. "We have one more request." "What is it?" Minho asked. "Teach us. Not how to fight like you. We know that is impossible. But teach us how you maintain civilization while having such capacity for violence." Resh looked genuinely curious. "Your operators are part of your society. They live normal lives when not deployed. How do you do it?" Minho thought about this carefully. "It is not easy. We identify them young. We give them purpose. We teach them that their nature is not evil, just different. We channel what they are into protecting what we have. And if they refuse, if they turn their violence on your own people, then they go to containment facilities, places where they cannot harm others." Minho paused. "But most do not refuse. Because we offer them something, belonging. They know they are different. We acknowledge that difference instead of pretending it does not exist." Resh considered this. "Perhaps we have been wrong to eliminate all violence from our society. Perhaps some level of danger is necessary to appreciate peace." "Maybe," Minho agreed. "Or maybe your way worked for thousands of years, and that is fine. Different species, different solutions." Back on Earth, General Yuna was overseeing the demobilization of the operator program. The 3,000 deployed operators were being returned to civilian life. It was not simple. Dr. Jisoo worked with each one individually. "How do you feel about the war?" she asked Captain Hyun during his evaluation. "I feel nothing about it," Hyun answered honestly. "We had objectives. We completed them. That is all. No guilt, no trauma. Should I?" Hyun seemed genuinely confused. "We defended our home. We stopped an invasion. We did what we were designed to do." Jisoo made notes. This was the challenge. The operators did not need therapy for trauma. They needed help reintegrating into a society where most people were traumatized by what the operators had done without hesitation. "Where will you go?" she asked. "Back to my apartment. Back to my job." Hyun worked as an accountant when not deployed. Numbers came easy to him. No emotion required. "I will wait until I am needed again." "And if you are never needed?" Hyun smiled slightly. "Then Earth is at peace." "That is good." Lieutenant Nari returned to her work as a teacher. She taught mathematics to middle school students. They had no idea what she had done during the war. She preferred it that way. One student asked her once, "Did you fight in the war against the aliens?" "Yes," Nari said simply. "Were you scared?" Nari thought about this. She wanted to lie, to tell the student what they wanted to hear. But she had learned that honesty was simpler. "No, I was not scared." "Why not?" "Everyone else was." Because fear is a survival mechanism for most people. For some of us, it works differently. She returned to the math problem on the board. Now who can solve this equation? Sergeant Doyen went back to his family. His wife hugged him when he came home. His children ran to him shouting, "Papa!" He smiled at them. A real smile. Not like the ones he used during missions. "Did you miss us?" His daughter asked. "Every day," he said. It was true. He loved his family. The fact that he could kill without hesitation did not mean he could not love. The two things were not connected in his mind. At night, his wife asked quietly, "Was it bad?" "It was necessary," he replied. "They came to our world. We sent them away. That is all." She did not ask for details. She had learned years ago that her husband was different. She loved him anyway. That was enough. Corporal Sola did not return to civilian life. She requested to stay in the military as a trainer. General Yuna approved the request. Sola taught new operators how to fight efficiently, how to move without wasted motion, how to kill without hesitation. She was good at it because she did not need to pretend. She could not explain emotions she did not feel. One trainee asked her, "How do you do it? How do you not feel anything?" "I do feel things," Sola replied. "Just not about combat. I feel satisfaction when I complete objectives. I feel frustration when plans fail. I feel content when I am useful." She paused. "I just do not feel fear or guilt about what I am asked to do. That is not a skill. That is just how I am. Is it better? Being like you?" Sola thought about this. "No, just different. You have emotions that make you appreciate peace. I do not. But I can protect peace because I am not disturbed by what it takes to defend it. Both types of people are necessary." The galaxy began to adapt to Earth's presence. 3 Velkari member species left the Empire entirely. They did not want to be part of an alliance that had failed so badly. 5 other species opened secret communications with Earth. New species that joined the galactic community were warned. Do not threaten humanity. They will not bluff. They will not negotiate. They will simply destroy you. Some ignored the warnings. They saw humans as small, weak-looking. Surely the stories were exaggerated. A species called the Torvan made that mistake 2 years after the HFY War. They attacked a human mining colony thinking it would be an easy conquest. Earth sent Captain Hyun with 50 operators. The operation took 6 hours. The Torvan lost 3,000 soldiers. The humans lost 2. The Torvan government immediately requested peace talks. They agreed to every demand Earth made. They left human space and never returned. Word spread quickly. The stories were not exaggerated. If anything, they understated what humans could do. 5 years after the war, Counselor Resh visited Earth. It was the first official state visit by a Velkari leader since the invasion. Security was tight, but Resh insisted on walking through Seoul with minimal guards. "I want to see your world," he told Minho. "I want to understand how you live." They walked through busy streets. Humans went about their daily lives. Shopping, working, laughing, children played in parks. Couples held hands. It looked peaceful. "Where are your operators?" Resh asked. "Everywhere," Minho replied. "That woman buying fruit might be one. That man teaching his son to ride a bicycle. That teacher. That accountant. They live normal lives. How do they do it? How do they switch between being normal and being what we saw?" They do not switch. They are always what they are. Society just gives them a place where that nature is not needed most of the time. Minho stopped at a coffee shop. "We are very good at building structures that contain dangerous things. Nuclear reactors, toxic chemicals, our own violent capacity." Inside the coffee shop, Lieutenant Nari sat grading papers. She looked up and saw Minho with the Velkari counselor. She recognized Resh from intelligence briefings. She nodded once and returned to her work. Resh saw the exchange. "Was that?" "Yes, one of the operators from the war. She teaches mathematics now." "Does it not disturb you, having such people among you? Does it disturb you to have doctors who can cut into living bodies? Or engineers who know how to build bombs?" Mio sat down at a table. "Dangerous knowledge and dangerous abilities are only problems when misused. We make sure they are not misused." 10 years after first contact, a new species entered galactic space. They were aggressive, confident. They had conquered their entire star system and thought themselves powerful. They sent an ultimatum to a human colony world: submit or be destroyed. General Yuna, now retired but still consulted on military matters, watched the news with Dr. Jisoo. "They did not learn from the Velkari," Jisoo said. Some species have to learn on their own. Yuna picked up her phone and called Earth Defense Command. Do we need to activate the full program? The response came back. Captain Hyun is mobilizing operators from the reserve list. He says this will only take one demonstration. Yuna ended the call and returned to her garden. She had planted flowers after retiring. Watching things grow was peaceful. Somewhere in the solar system, operators were preparing to teach another species the same lesson the Valkyrie had learned. She did not need to watch. She knew how it would end. Captain Hyun stood on the bridge of a military transport with 25 operators. The new aggressive species had sent 10,000 soldiers to the human colony. Earth was responding with 25. Remember, Hyun told his team. One rule. No civilian casualties. Everything else is unrestricted. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity. Lieutenant Nari checked her rifle. Sergeant Doyen prepared his explosives. Corporal Sola tested her blades. Around them, newer operators did the same. Different faces, but the same empty eyes. The same absence of fear. The operation took 4 hours. The aggressive species lost 8,000 soldiers. The humans lost none. The species immediately withdrew from human space and broadcast a warning to their people. Never attack humans. They are not what they appear to be. The galaxy learned, slowly, but it learned. 20 years after first contact, Earth had become a major hub of galactic trade. Human culture spread across dozens of worlds. Human music, human art, human philosophy. Other species found them fascinating. But every ship that visited Earth passed a monument in orbit, a black sphere with names inscribed on it. The names of every operator who had died defending humanity. Tourists asked what it meant. The answer was always the same. It is a reminder. Peace is not the absence of capacity for violence. It is the choice not to use that capacity, and it is a warning. Humanity retains the choice. Ambassador Minho, now elderly, gave a speech at the memorial's 20th anniversary. We did not want to be the scary species, he said. We wanted to explore, to learn, to make friends among the stars. But the galaxy forced us to show what we were capable of. We did, and now we live with the consequences. Some fear us, some respect us, some keep their distance. That is fine. What matters is that Earth is safe. Our colonies are protected. Our people can live without fear of conquest. The operators who died here sacrificed for that safety. They were different from most of us. Their minds worked in ways we do not fully understand. But they were human. And they were ours. We honor them not for the killing they did, but for the peace their presence maintains. Captain Hyun attended the ceremony. He was older now, gray in his hair. He stood at attention as names were read. Some he had known, some he had fought beside. When it was over, a reporter approached him. Captain, do you regret the war? Hyun considered this. Even after 20 years, he struggled with questions about emotion. Regret means wishing things had happened differently. I do not wish that. The war happened. We responded. Earth survived. Those are facts. But the killing. So many deaths. Yes, many died. Hyun looked at the memorial. If the Valkyrie had not attacked, those deaths would not have happened. We did not choose the war. We only chose how to win it. Are you proud of what you did? Pride is not something I feel easily, but I am satisfied. We completed our objectives. Earth is safe. That is sufficient. The reporter did not understand. Most people did not. That was fine. The operators did not need to be understood. They just needed to be effective. Dr. Jisoo published her final research paper on the operator program. It was classified for highest security clearance only. Her conclusion was simple. The program succeeded because we stopped pretending. Every society has individuals whose minds are wired for violence. Most societies try to fix them, change them, lock them away. We gave them purpose instead. This does not mean violence is good. It means acknowledging reality is better than denying it. The operators are not heroes. They are not villains. They are tools. Very effective tools that happen to be human. The question for the future is, can we maintain this system? Can we continue to integrate operators into society? Can we remember that they are people, even when they do not feel like people? I do not know. But I know this. As long as Earth needs protection, operators will provide it. And that may be the only thing keeping us safe in a hostile galaxy. Counselor Resh, now old himself, sent a final message to Ambassador Minho before retiring. We learned many things from humanity. We learned that civilization is not weakness. We learned that peace requires the capacity for war. We learned that different minds serve different purposes. But most importantly, we learned this: humans are not monsters. They are survivors who became civilized. They wear civilization like armor, but underneath they are still what evolution made them: predators, hunters, beings that do not accept defeat. That is not evil. It is simply what they are, and the galaxy is safer because they choose to use that nature only in defense. Thank you for the lesson. It was painful, but necessary. Minho read the message in his retirement home overlooking the Pacific Ocean. He smiled. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed it simply by existing, by showing what a death world species could become. On that same day, in a small apartment in Seoul, Lieutenant Nari corrected math tests. In a house in Berlin, Sergeant Doyen played with his grandchildren. In a training facility, Corporal Sola taught new operators. And in military stations across human space, thousands of operators lived their lives, waiting, ready, hoping they would never be needed. But prepared if they were, the galaxy had peace, not because of treaties, not because of diplomacy, because every species knew the truth. Earth did not send warriors to fight the Velkari Empire. They sent persistence predators who had evolved perfect killing efficiency over millions of years and then learned to control it through civilization. They sent humans, and humans, when threatened, became what nature had designed them to be, the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because they wanted to be, but because they could not be anything else. And that made all the difference.